Welcome everyone to the YouTube edition. I can't even speak of the Ringside podcast, and we have two very special guests. We have Whitney McCallister.
Hi.
And we have Shayna Hill.
Hey.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I know you know them. Yes, they are Fire and Ice. That is right. We have Fire and Ice right here, but we're not doing Fire and Ice just yet. We're going to talk a little bit about Evolution pay-per-view on this special edition of this show. So, ladies, what do you think about the Evolution pay-per-view? Well, let's start with you, Whitney. Go ahead.
Great. Match-wise, I was a bit disappointed in the visual presentation. I was expecting a lot more flash. I saw in Smackdown themselves get a lot of light and, the big display and the way the ring is set up. So I expected when it came to the performance, there was not a disappointment.
All right, Shayna?
I agree. I think the setup could have been a little bit more. I also was impressed by it. I didn't really have high hopes, to be honest, of some of the matches, but the Battle Royal being one of them, I thought it was really good, actually. And I was really, really impressed with the overall pay-per-view itself.
Yeah, I mean, the overall pay-per-view was decent. I was kind of like Whitney. I was a little bit disappointed in the look of it. I mean, it did have an NXT/live event feel, mostly a live event feel to it. Even the barricades were like the old-fashioned bars with the little like capes over them or whatever. It wasn't even the real deal. So I was a little disappointed in that. But overall, the show I thought was done pretty well. I think they had a lot of audio problems though too. I don't know if that's just because they wasn't doing their normal production and they were using the live event kind or what, because I felt like I remember the first ever live event pay-per-view they did where Kevin Owens beat John Cena. That one had that same look. It was like a live event feel to it, and it had audio problems too. So I think that the production's different when they don't do the full-blown flash stuff. Just, I don't know, that's my opinion. But yeah, it was definitely interesting and overall good show. And hopefully they'll do more.
Well, they just hyped me up too much for how extravagant this was going to be to it not. Match-wise, don't get me wrong, it definitely was. But I was just expecting so much more when it started. Like bam, this is it. These women have worked so hard to get here. Like, here we are. And they were just like, wah, wah, wah. Here's match number one. Like.
And you know that now this air, by the time this airs, Crown Jewel's already happened, but Crown Jewel is going to be completely opposite. It's going to be, the maybe pyro, everything is going to be amazing, and the production is going to be much better than it was on this. So it kind of sucks when that happens. It's like, come on, you could make the ladies, could have made their show look super nice too as well.
Yeah, and I think that Crown Jewel will probably look better because they're not paying for the production themselves. So I think the fact that like the Saudis are paying for it, you're probably going to see more. But I do think that as hyped up as it was, as far as it being like the first ever women's pay-per-view, they could have changed the color of the lighting. They could have changed the colors of the ropes. I mean, they could have done just a lot more as far as, they could have did some pyro. I mean, it was cool at the beginning with Lizzie Hale and everything like that. I thought that was pretty awesome. But I feel like there just wasn't any, there wasn't any pop to it. It was just a live event that they decided to stream on on the on the.
We're calling it a pay-per-view,
network.
And then you're presenting it as a live event. Like, don't hype me up for a pay-per-view and then not give me that.
Right. And another thing too is that they missed. You brought up a good point. They missed a good opportunity to make the ropes like pink, or it can't be purple because that's cruiserweight division, but at least pink. It would have been like something that made them special. Yeah.
The colors looked great. Like.
Yeah, the teal would have been great.
I liked that. Yeah.
Or even the teal with the pink, like even that, like in the ropes, it was kind of have the pink little glow to it too, and made the ropes that. Plus, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I mean, it would have made sense to have pink in there somewhere. Right. It just would have fit on that too.
And I feel like they also didn't do as much like non-match type stuff. And I think that they could have done some backstage segments with some people. I just feel like it was just match after match. Like I saw pictures, Vicky Guerrero was backstage. So, they could have taken the opportunity to bring her out and do something, with her. I just feel like it was match after match, and it's ironic because sometimes I feel like they do too much like sideshow type stuff, and I just want to get to the matches. But there wasn't anything as far as, like little backstage segments. They did do the red carpet, but I feel like the entertainment factor was kind of missing from it. They didn't really have like the entertainment side covered.
Well, you have two leaders, one on Raw, that's a woman, Stephanie McMahon, and then one on SmackDown, Paige. There could have been some kind of a backstage moment where they're saying our match is going to be better than your title match or something like that. It could, to that effect. I think that could have added to it. I mean, I know they have the whole Survivor Series thing coming up, and it's like Raw versus SmackDown, and we'll see that, but they could have kind of done something to do that. Or maybe they wanted to look like they're all one empowerment. I don't know, but I'm just, they could have done, you're right.
They should have had Becky attack Ronda to get us ready for, like, give us something. Like, just something. That would have been cool. I'm a sucker for a backstage promo. So if Becky would have went back there and, like, got Ronda, hit her with her title and stood over her like she did Charlotte, like, I'll see you at Survivor Series. Like, I get that it's, like, empowering women, and that was great. But, like, we still all know this is sports entertainment. We still all know we're not all, together, unity like that.
So let's break down the matches. We had Trish Stratus and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox with in the corner of them was Alexa Bliss. What do y'all guys think of that match?
I was a Lita fan. I was never really a big Trish Stratus fan, but I do think it's cool when people like that come back. I didn't really have high hopes for it. I was really disappointed that Alexa got hurt and she couldn't be in it, because she did, do all the talking and the promos and everything like that. And she did do it at the beginning of the match, but I feel like the emotion behind it, kind of, since she was smack talking for so many weeks, I feel like that was gone, because Alicia Fox had like 2 minutes to infiltrate the storyline. But I mean, overall, I thought it was a decent way to open the show. I thought it was a pretty good match.
Other than the botch from the referee and Alicia Fox, that was really clearly like the biggest botch ever. I think Trish and Lita still got it for sure. I was pretty amazed by them, and I enjoyed it. Whitney?
I am just curious if they were supposed to win originally at this point. I kind of feel like Alexa and Mickie were going to win and kind of draw it out and make it a bigger thing, especially since they showed up at Raw last night. So I don't know. The match was really good, but it's just giving me a lot of like what if in my mind. Like, I really think Alexa and Mickie probably would have won it. So now it's just kind of like, I don't know. It was a really good match. I just wish, again, that Alexa would have been in it to see how it was supposed to really play out.
All right. Next up, we had Nia Jax. Well, actually, we had the Women's Battle Royal that had 20 people, and the winner gets 20 women, and the winner gets a future women's title opportunity, whether you're on Raw or SmackDown. But you had a lot of people coming back in this, and so it was one of those good spot matches where everybody gets in and gets their shine in again. What do you guys think of that?
I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I liked the little tribute that Nia and Tamina did for Roman with Lana. I thought that was sweet. The only real complaint that I have is that this was billed as a huge event for women. And there were a handful of NXT women there. Bianca Belair was there. Lacey Evans was there. There was a handful of girls there. And I almost feel like they missed an opportunity to include those women in this. They could have made it a 30 or 40 woman battle royal instead of just 20. They could have brought back some other legends like, Jacqueline or Charmel or Vicky Guerrero. I mean, like I said, she was backstage, so it could have been funny if she introduced herself with the excuse me and walked herself down and said this wouldn't happen, without me, yada, yada, yada. Like, I feel like they missed the opportunity to include some, past legends and, some of the NXT women, because they're the, superstars of tomorrow. So I feel like they could have included them a little bit more in it.
Whitney?
I actually disagree with that. If it would have had any more people, it would have been a Royal Rumble. We've just started that. January is right around the corner. I think if there would have been any more contenders, there would have been no point in a women's Royal Rumble come January.
Right, and I'm leaning more.
I liked having the older.
Oh, go ahead.
I liked having the older women come back, the legends, just because that's all they're going to do, and then that's going to be the end of it. So I feel like the NXT women will get their opportunity probably more so in January. And I was honestly disappointed Zelina Vega didn't win it. I thought that would have been great for her to win that. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that idea too. I would have liked it if she won it.
It was perfect. Seeing her celebrate, if it really would have happened, it was just perfect. Like, that would have been hilarious. So
yeah, I mean, I do agree with that, and I actually am on Whitney's side on this. I think that the legends coming in on this is the perfect spot. The Royal Rumble is not, and I think that last year because of the first one we saw a lot of that, but this time this Royal Rumble is where you use the NXT girls and all the other. You use everybody else. You don't use the old talent anymore. Maybe one or two of them, but not all the ones that they use.
Surprises.
Right. And now, and shout out to Avery. Man, does she look good out there. I mean, I was impressed by her and Michelle McCool. Like, both of them were just blowing my mind.
I love her.
The rest of them, you can tell were.
Kelly,
Kelly. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I randomly made a joke. I don't know if I may have said it to you, Shayna. I might have said Kelly. I was like, oh, that's funny. Too bad half of the man's locker room is not there because she knows all about those guys. Anyways, sorry.
She's my spirit animal.
Yes.
Oh Lord. All right. So Nia Jax won that, and actually, I don't like. That's one of the matches I didn't want to see. The person won. I'm over it. I mean, I know
how they're going to do that storyline with her and Ronda. I mean, I don't. It's not. Nia's not going to be the one to beat Ronda. Let's all just say it. It's not going to be her.
No.
So why not go for someone that we know? I mean, because like they try to build Nia, like like she could be the one to do it, but we all know she's not going to be the one they pick to do it.
Well,
so why not do someone like Zelina Vega, who we all? I mean, it's a shot in the dark. Like,
well, but maybe whoever wins the Rumble is going to be the one that's going to take on Ronda at WrestleMania. But I just.
But how do you know that? What's the stipulation for this battle? Like, what's the stipulation for this battle royal title opportunity? Do we have one?
Well,
Can we make it a triple threat? Like, do we when can they cash in this opportunity? Like,
Nia said she was gonna see her after she was done at Survivor Series with Becky. So my guess is probably, I don't know. I wouldn't think it'd be the Monday after. I would think probably the next pay-per-view.
This is where we do the brand. Maybe Nia goes SmackDown.
I'm okay with that.
Me too.
Too many options.
Me too.
I'm okay with that. Next up, you had Toni Storm against I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Io Shirai.
There you go, Io Shirai in the championship for the Mae Young Classic. Hey, look, I don't do names, so for those, it's all good. Anyways, this was a great match. I was very impressed with this one. Toni Storm is fire. Sorry, Shane, I know you're fire, but she's fire, but she's also ice. She's got blonde hair, so see, there you go.
Yeah. See, I am a huge Toni Storm fan. I've been following her for a few years now. She's in Progress, the UK promotions. She wrestles in Japan. This isn't the first time they've wrestled each other, and I knew that it was going to be a good match. I just feel like they didn't get as much of a chance to build on it for that event just because it aired Wednesday and it happened on Sunday. And I just think that they didn't really get a chance to hype it because some people didn't even know that it was happening. I saw the spoilers a month ago, so I knew what was going on. But that match, I knew it was going to be good.
And since Toni Storm won, do we see her going to NXT? Do we see her going to the main roster? How do you think you're going to handle that?
Well, she already is signed to NXT UK, so she has been wrestling a few matches there. They've been recording that since August, so she's had quite a few matches that'll air, over time. They've already recorded up to, I think, the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But I actually see her being on the main roster, if not after the Royal Rumble. I would say sometime maybe after, if they do like a superstar shakeup or whatever after Mania. But I don't see her being in NXT for, I would say, probably any more than 8 months to a year. She'll be up on the main roster.
She does not need it. She's what, 23?
No, she doesn't.
She's 23 years old. I saw her wrestle at the Progress show or Evolve. I don't remember which one she actually wrestled for, but in Chicago, Clint and I were there, and she wrestled there and like blew me away. She does not need NXT. NXT might need her, but she does not need NXT.
Well, NXT's going to need her because they're going to end up losing Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane. They're going to need her, so she probably will go to NXT or stay, or at least, or I don't know. Maybe they'll. Do they? That's an interesting thing. Let's kind of sidetrack here on the UK, the NXT UK. Do they actually going to? Do you think they're going to bring them over to the regular NXT, or they're going to keep that as a completely separate brand?
They've already started touring with the regular NXT. I know the Coffee Brothers were on tour. A handful of them are signed to. I don't want to say they're signed to both, but like Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Pete Dunne, Wolfgang, Mark Andrews, those 5 guys were signed initially. And then like Zach Gibson and a few of those other guys are signed too. And they kind of wrestle here because they'll occasionally wrestle house shows. Like I said, the Coffee Brothers wrestled last month at a couple events in Florida. But I think because of their agreement with Progress and the other indie companies in the UK that they're all allowed to wrestle for, I don't look for them to be strictly in the United States. And I think part of their contract agreement was that they wouldn't have to come stay in the United States, because I know that there are a couple guys that don't want to move here, but they do want to be part of the NXT UK stuff and kind of build that up. So I see maybe the 5 guys I mentioned, maybe just them for now, and maybe the Coffee Brothers too. I don't know, but I look for a large part of them just to stay in the UK at this point in time and not come over with, regular NXT.
All right, so back to the Evolution pay-per-view here. So this is the match, the only match, because I watched it on delay. I didn't start it. I had things going on. I didn't start it till 2 hours later. So by the time I was watching these matches, I was able to fast forward. So this match was a match that I fast forward to the very, very end, and I got to see the final moment, the closing part of the match is Sasha Banks and Bayley and Natalya versus the Riot Squad. Sorry, guys, but I did fast forward it.
So did I.
I watched it. I thought that was the bathroom break match. So
and I hate to say this, and I'm just over Sasha Bayley, and I'm done. Like, you turned Bayley heel weeks ago. It lasted 1 week. First of all, Sasha needs to be heel in the first place, not Bayley. But you do this, and then this whole Riot Squad. I'm done with the Riot Squad. Like, break them out. I don't know. This did not appeal to me whatsoever. I did not care. This would have been great if it was another heel turn, like if Sasha turned on them or whatever. But
well, the Riot Squad had no business losing. Their little trio made no sense. When the Riot Squad goes out every freaking week and just destroys, backstage and talks crap, and they're so united, how are they going to lose? How am I supposed to buy that? I don't buy that.
Well, but remember, you had Bayley do the macho elbow drop, and then Sasha Banks done the frog splash for Eddie Guerrero. That's why they lost. They lost to those guys, not to Bayley and Sasha.
No, they lost to Bayley and Sasha trying to beat Eddie Guerrero.
I'm just thinking what Vince would say.
I can't take it. You cannot give me a faction and make me believe in them week after week after week just to lose to 3 women that we threw together. Like, I can't buy that. 100%.
I'm with you on that one too, and I just think that it was too much for it. I know that this whole event was supposed to be, like you said earlier, it was supposed to be empowering for women, and it's supposed to be a happy thing. The whole event, the whole topic of the event was supposed to be a face kind of thing. Everything was supposed to be happy. And I think if the Riot Squad, because I mean, let's be honest, Becky's a heel and we're not supposed to cheer her, but we all like Becky. I mean, there's nothing she can do that we wouldn't like her. So I feel like the Riot Squad winning would have been the best option solely because they were heels, and it would have been a breakup of all of the hunky-dory, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think it would have made sense for the Riot Squad to win, and they needed it.
All we had heel-wise was Shayna Baszler, which was great. She's great.
And that's the next match we talked about. So go ahead, talk right up.
I mean, that's what like that was all we got, like bad guy wise. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, with that, that's like okay, but like they're a faction. They do this every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with. I would have been okay with the Riot Squad winning, honestly, but
it just made more sense.
Yeah, it would have made more sense.
And that could cause more friction between Sasha and Bayley, and that could have refueled that fire. You know, if one of them would have lost, you know, because of the other one, or you know.
I have a feeling they're saving that match for WrestleMania because we've been building on it for so long, and they should have really done it at last WrestleMania. But anyways, they're saving that match for WrestleMania. And yes, them two gave me the best women's match I've ever seen. Although a match we're going to talk about later was pretty close, but best match we've ever seen between. And so I don't know if they're going to rekindle. I mean, I don't know if they can do that again. I mean, Shawn and Taker couldn't do it again the second year in a row. So I don't know.
But if they had if they had Sasha turn heel again and just like annihilate annihilate Bayley week after week and just like, you know, until Mania, I would love that.
Oh, I would too.
The hugger. That's great. Do it. I'll take it all. Like they could do it. They could do it so many great ways, and we just don't. We miss the mark every time with those two.
Yeah.
So if they do it by Mania, they better get it right, or I'm gonna be pissed.
Yes, absolutely. So the next match you kind of brought it up, the NXT Women's Championship match between Kairi Sane, the champion, versus Shayna Baszler, and I love this match because it's something different. We've seen this 3 times now, right? It's the third time we've seen these girls. And and I like that they did something different as far as using except for Ronda, but using the 4 horsewomen and bringing them involved and making Shayna a real true heel. And I love when a heel's a heel. I don't like when a heel's like a tweener. I love when they're straight up a heel. And it was good heat, good stuff.
Yeah, at first I did not like when the little friends, I don't know their names. I did not like it at first when they like interfered. I was like not like seriously, but they're in NXT, they're training, like what better way to do it than here now. So
yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a big fan of, I don't like Shayna Baszler. I think it's weird when somebody else has my name, so that's one thing. I think it's weird to have to say it. It's super strange. But I think that she is a more believable champion than Ronda is a believable champion, and they were cut from the same cloth because Shayna Baszler has the ability to connect as far as her promos go and everything like that. Yes.
I respect the shit out of her for earning her way to the top.
Yes, 100%. And like I said,
that so much.
Yes, and I'm not a fan. And Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke are the other 2 that came out. Marina Shafir, she's engaged to Roderick Strong, so she's had a lot of training from him. You can't really learn from many more people better than he is. I mean, he's like a wrestling god. He's phenomenal. So I think that she is probably, out of wrestling wise, not like MMA wise or whatever. I think wrestling wise, she's probably going to end up being the better one out of all 4 of them. But I think overall, I think Shayna Baszler is probably the best out of all 4 of them. And I know that they're probably going to build up to the Survivor Series match, probably being like the 4 of them somehow working it I don't know. I don't know if they're eventually going to come up and be with Ronda within the next few weeks, or if they're just going to do their own thing down there, the three of them. I don't know. But I enjoy the fact that Shayna earned it, like you said. I think that the match was good. I don't think the two of them have ever had a bad match in any of the matches that they've had. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'll say that much.
Well, and she's the first ever two-time NXT Women's Champion, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is, and she deserved it. Yeah.
I thought she was getting called up. So,
I mean, it's going to be a good title run on this, and I have a feeling that this will cause her to be called up. I think she'll be called up as champion.
Yeah.
Well, they could
even more made. I was not a fan of hers when she came around. I'm honestly not a fan of these MMA chicks coming around. Not a fan of the MMA guy. Like, y'all talk shit about our stuff, and now you want to come over here and do it for fake and get paid more? Like, really? That's what you want to do? So I've never been a fan of it. But the fact that Shayna started in NXT and she's trained and she's worked her way up to get where she is, rather than I'm Ronda Rousey, I can bring you millions of dollars, give me a belt. Like, I respect Shayna so much more. So
yes.
All right, so next up we have the SmackDown Women's Championship match with the champion Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Last man standing match. This should have main evented, but it's okay. So, ladies, let's break down each. Whitney, what did you think of this match?
Absolutely freaking amazing. I don't understand how it was not the main event. There was nothing I didn't like other than the fact, let me say, Charlotte took all those nasty bumps. Piss off, champ. Charlotte took all those bumps. So, just my opinion. Amazing.
Well, Shanna, go ahead. I got.
I was gonna say I agree, but I think Daniel and I had a conversation last week about botches and bumps and how it adds realism to things. And Charlotte is probably the best, like, total package female wrestler in the company as far as like athletic ability and just natural talent. With that being said, she's probably also one of the top 3, botching people in the company, top botches. But when I say that, it's not necessarily like she doesn't know what she's doing. I think she just has the ability to make stuff look more real than it is. And she kind of really doesn't. She just goes with it. You know what I mean? Like, she takes a lot of bumps. She misses a lot of marks, but it makes it look like she's still really good at it, if that makes sense. I like the botches and stuff.
Lita was kind of similar that way too. Lita was kind of rough around the edges, and so I mean, but Charlotte though has a way of being like perfect too at the same time. It's really weird. It's kind of a.
She's amazing. I love her.
And I am over Charlotte as being kind of the, lack of a better term, Roman Reigns of the women's division, kind of shoving us down our throats. I'm kind of over that a little bit.
She's the best one we've got.
Well, but I don't know. I think the champ right now is just as good. But here's the thing though, I like them feuding, so I'm okay with her position now because she's feuding with the right person. Beforehand, Asuka and all, no, it did not make sense. Or Naomi, but feuding with Becky makes sense. Now I'm okay with that. I'm okay with her character.
How long can we draw this out?
That's what I was getting ready to say.
I'm already kind of bored of it. I'm not in like it's not boring. It's still fun to watch, but like, I'm just a firm believer, like, the heel is the heel. And I understand everyone loves Becky, but this was a heel turn. Like, that's what she's supposed to do. Wrestling fans understand what's going on. Children don't come to wrestling and cheer for Becky Lynch when she turned on her best friend, because children don't understand it. As adults, we need to boo the goddamn heel. We don't boo the woo, we boo the heel.
Right, but that's the thing though. That's the thing. They booed her because they were tired of Charlotte being shoved down your throat. They started getting sick of it. So when she turned, it's like,
better
yes.
than Becky. What do you expect?
I don't.
Is this going to be a fire and ice segment? Because Charlotte is a million and one.
We can do this as fire and ice, and it's funny because look who's the fire's on the fire side, the ice is on the ice side, so that's kind of funny. Makes perfect sense. All right, we'll save the Charlotte discussion.
Let's save that.
Yes.
for another time. All right, but I will say this though. Speaking of heel turns though, I give it you. The best heel turn happened 2 weeks ago. Well, by the time this airs 2 weeks ago, is when Dean Ambrose, it was a perfect time to turn him heel. Why? Because why would you do it on a night where Roman Reigns announced that he has leukemia and he can't wrestle anymore, and he has to take a sabbatical, whatever. And you're gonna do this. He's gonna turn heel on that guy right there. Perfect time. Now he's the most hated man in the company. Perfect opportunity, perfect moment. And
yes.
Best heel turn has been in a long time.
Yes, and I think his is actually more heartfelt than Tommaso Ciampa's was, because everybody was all like, oh my God, Tommaso turned on Johnny, and oh no. And that was sad. He's still probably top 3 best heels ever. I mean, he was phenomenal as a heel, but Dean Ambrose, you really got to be a scummy person to turn on your best friend 2 hours after you were standing at the top of the ramp crying with him with your other stablemate because he is going on leave because he has cancer. Like, it is probably the nastiest heel turn that I can remember in any recent history of wrestling after Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? Like, it was like stabbed to the heart level heel turn.
And here's the only thing that I wish for. I hope they make his character loose cannon crazy, not this quirky Dean Ambrose we got over the years. Make him really hardcore, rough, gritty. Brian Pillman, loose cannon. Brian Pillman. We got to the loose cannon, a crazy loose cannon.
He cannot live up to Brian Pillman, though.
Oh no, God, no one could.
But John Moxley did a lot of that. That character was like that in the Indies, and if he can bring that out, which he has it in him, it's just will Vince allow it? I'm telling you, it will be money, and
he doesn't have a choice after that heel turn. You don't have a choice. It's happening.
But Vince can make him.
But I think if Vince.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think if Vince decided on the night where his number one guy was leaving the company for a legitimate reason, if he determined at that moment in time, because from what I understand, it wasn't supposed to happen until Survivor Series. If this happened at that moment, Vince was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity. We have a meeting out of the palm of our hand because everybody's emotional. We're going to do it now. So what's going to happen is Vince is going to have to let it go to that level, because if you're going to be grimy enough to turn on your best friend after your other best friends that I have cancer and I have to, go get taken care of, that is a whole new level of grime. Like, that is going to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brian Pillman, gun in your house, that kind of crazy, he's going to show up at his house, like that kind of thing, like Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano again. Johnny showed up at Tommaso's house and he's live streaming it while Johnny's banging on his door, and just, what they tried to do with Triple H and Randy Orton when he threw him through the window of his house, and it was absolutely ridiculous, and it was nothing like it was with Pillman and Stone Cold.
Since we're on our Pillman kick, what about Pillman when he Stone Cold does his wife? That was great too as well. So
yeah, that was.
For Vince to allow this, Vince still has some hate in him, and I dig it. I also want to say I'm very impressed with all of the WWE fans get Roman shit to appreciate a real person and I was honestly surprised. I really thought I was going to get on the internet and see all kinds of dumb shit, and that I was going to go on a rant and I was going to be a psychopath and lose my mind, because I know Roman Reigns don't really care about him as a wrestler. That's fine, whatever, but you care about people as people. Super, super proud of just the verse as a whole, because that's shocking.
And guess what though? This is the truth of the matter. When he beats this thing, because he's going to do it, I believe in it. When he beats this thing, comes back, he's going to be the biggest baby face there ever was. I mean, he's going to come back and say,
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Huh?
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Well, it's going to happen. He's going to be
booing Roman.
Well, it ain't gonna happen. You can't boo him anymore. He's gonna beat. How are you gonna boo somebody that beat leukemia?
I cried that entire episode of Raw, and I am the
Me
least
too.
sympathetic person in the world.
That's
like,
true.
I can't help it. It doesn't register to me. Like, I'm just like, well, whatever. It just doesn't. I'm just like, woo, whatever, okay, bye. Like, someone calls me at work, hey, my grandma died, I can't pay you. Well, I don't care. Your bill is still due. Like, that's just me. So, like, I'm just like, oh my God, if I can be this sympathetic, like, oh.
See, and the only thing is, and I felt so bad for even thinking this, because this was the, like, bitch in me for saying it. And I literally said to somebody right after, Vince McMahon has tried for how many years to turn Roman Reigns face, or, you know, make people cheer for Roman Reigns, and cancer did it. Like, him getting sick. And I think that there were people skeptical. Like, I saw people in wrestling groups and stuff that were like, do you believe this? Do you think this is a work? And I'm like, no, you moron. Like, this isn't a work. And if it is, I would probably never watch them again, because this is different than like the Attitude Era stuff they used to do when they used to do that kind of crazy stuff. And I said before, I'm not a fan of Roman Reigns. It doesn't have anything to do with him. I'm just not a fan of the character. I'm not a fan of the way they book him. But Joe is a person, and he has children. You know, he has twins that are like 6 months old. You know, he has a 7-year-old daughter. You know, as a parent, I connect with other parents whenever the first thing you think about as a parent is, what am I going to do about my children? It's the first thing you think about. So as soon as I saw him and he said that, that's what popped into my head. So for me, I'll probably never boo him again. I'll probably gripe and complain, but you know, from what I understand, it's going to be years before he comes back. It's going to be 2-3 years before that man can come back, and he might not want to. You know, he's got 3, heck, let's say he beats it, he's still got at least a year before he can come back. He might decide during that point in time he doesn't want to. You know, he might realize he wants to spend with his kids.
And he's set too. I mean, they're not going to hurt for money at all. So
yeah.
Vince did take care of him there. Okay, we got sidetracked on all that. Let's go to. By the way, let's talk real quick about the match. Did you think it was amazing? Great? What? Let's break down the match real quick. Becky and Charlotte.
Favorite match whole night. Should have been
favorite match of the night. I agree with that. What about women's match of all time? Is it top? Is it up there?
It's up there. I'd say it's up there.
I don't think it was better than Bayley and Sasha in NXT. I don't.
No, it wasn't better than that, but it's definitely in the conversation. It did put it. It's definitely in the conversation. All right. Next up, we have the main event, which, from a company standpoint, I understand why this was the main event, but from a wrestling fan, I don't understand why. It's the Raw's Women's Championship match between the champion Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella.
Here's my gripe about this match, other than the fact that it was the main event. But my gripe is, I feel like these are the two women in the company that Vince McMahon and creative want you to pay the most attention to for non-obvious reasons. I feel like the Bella twins have been here, you know, as long as Natty and Alicia Fox, and they've been here for a long time. I am not a fan. I don't think that they are the best wrestlers. I don't think they cut the best promos. Occasionally they do. But this match, for me, the reason why I wasn't looking forward to it at all is because you have the one woman in the company that everybody feels is handed everything, but I can't say right now if that's, you know, Nikki or if that's Ronda, because both of them are treated the exact same way. You know, Nikki's treated a certain way because she's been there for so long and she's got such a cult following of people, and she's dependable. She's a female John Cena. She'll bust her ass for the company. She'll do what she needs to do, and that's why I respect them. They'll do anything for the company. Then you have Ronda, who walks in and literally takes a spot that could belong to 4 or 5 other women. And when she comes out, and I feel awful for saying this because we just had the Roman conversation, but when I see Ronda come out with the belt, it's almost like she either won a contest or she's like, I just look at her and I feel like, oh, well, when you see like a Make-A-Wish kid, when they give them the belt and they let them walk to the ring and they let them cut a promo and they let them, you know, do what they need to do. When I see Ronda, I feel like that with her. She comes out and she's got a big old smile on her face and she's like a child. And I feel like she needs to not, pretty much skip out to the ring and then try to cut, deep with promos and try to be hardcore there. And that's why I really couldn't care less about this match in general.
You said a lot there, so I'm trying to dissect it all. First of all, Nikki Bella is amazing. Sorry, but I love her being a heel. I love her being a heel, so I'm okay with that.
She's an
Incredible heel.
She is
incredible heel.
Yes.
The reason, from a company standpoint, you got the person, you got a brand, you got Total Divas and Total Bellas, you got the face of that, and then you've got the face of this other women empowering industry. You're trying to the ESPN, the Fox Sports, your CNN, NBC, all of that. You want it to show spotlight on is Ronda Rousey. Why? Because of what she did outside of the WWE and before she got in. So I get all of that. She should not be champion though. 100%. This could be the main event. This could be even the main event being the number one contenders match. I would have been okay with that as long as it wasn't for the title and one of them was not the champ. Well, Nikki could have been the champion. It doesn't, but I'm just saying Ronda should not be the champion. It's way too soon. Way too soon. She needed to chase it longer, work on her craft, become better. As far as, first of all, I don't know who's doing your hair, girl, or who's doing your eyes or whatever. Go back to just being you're hotter when you're just like.
Called herself a pretty face. I almost died. I was like, who is telling you these lies?
Go back to just putting your hair in a ponytail. Go back to letting it hang.
Right.
Go back. Just get rid of that. Just quit it. Do this. Put something under the eyes. Like, do that. Like, that's it. That's all you need. Like, oh my gosh. Like, literally. Like, all right. This is gonna be TMI, but I don't care. I'm just gonna give you an analogy. It's like Ronda's gonna come out. You're like, oh yeah. Oh nope. It just fell down. It was over. I just lost any erection that I may have had for Ronda Rousey. So that's straight up. Yeah, sorry, but I'm just giving you an example. Like, it's not great. Now, if that works, maybe her husband likes it. Maybe he's all about that. Maybe that's what she does it for.
Props to WWE for not trying to make her a pretty face yet, regardless of what she thinks she might be, because she's not. She ain't a cute girl. I mean, she is when she's all dolled up. Whatever. Okay,
she is when she's not. She is when she's not had her hair like in. Look like a snake or whatever.
Like, why are you cornrowing your hair, woman? Who do you think you are? You know, if Kim Kardashian cornrows her hair, we're all like in an uproar about culture appropriation. But here we've got old Ronda Rousey coming out thinking she's the black freaking swan, looking like a moron, and everyone's like behind it. I don't get it.
I don't either.
She doesn't look like the baddest woman on the planet. She looks dumb. And I firmly believe Nikki Bella is the women's evolution. I really truly believe, not Nikki and Brie, not the Bella twins. I think Brie holds Nikki back. I really do.
I agree with that.
Is the face of WWE. She has done leaps and bounds from Total Bellas. That was her, and Total Divas. Total Divas was all Nikki. All anyone cared about is Nikki. She's a hot brunette, and there are two of her in a less hot, awkward version, but there are two of her, and that's badass. And she's leaps and bounds better than Brie. She talks better than Brie. She wrestles better than Brie. I mean, she doesn't need Brie. Brie needs to go. I mean, Brie can go, like, they need to split singles. But at the same time, I would kind of like to see them as the first women's tag team since, they are twins and whatever. But I think Nikki is the women's evolution. I do. I really do. I don't think it's paid. I don't. Nikki's done so much. It started with her looks. I'll give her that. She's a very pretty face. But I mean, John Cena's a pretty face, and everyone's okay with that. He just backs it up in the ring. How does she not? Nikki Bella is amazing.
I've been a Nikki Bella fan, not for the obvious reasons, but I mean, yes, for those two. But I see her in the ring do the work, and I'm like, everyone says, oh, she can't wrestle or whatever. Yes, she can. She works her ass off.
She's amazing.
She's amazing, and she's also does stuff outside of the ring. Yes, she may have learned that from her man she was with for those many years. It doesn't matter. She did it herself. No one gave her that position. Yeah. No one gave her that because she's John Cena's girlfriend. She worked her ass off.
Oh, and I'll agree with that. I do. Go ahead.
Can I just say, they all have freaking boob jobs. Sorry, Nikki Bella has the pretty face to go with it. We don't, oh, she's the girl with the boobs. Like, they've all got fake boobs. We don't like Ronda, and she doesn't have the look. She doesn't. She's not even there athleticism-wise, in my opinion. Like, so we're going to shame Nikki for having the look? That means she's less of a wrestler? No. Nikki's
I agree. I agree with you on that. And I think my gripe is, and I will completely disagree that she was the women's evolution. In my opinion, I think Nikki and Brie are the end of the generation of women only the divas. Yes. And I think that they're the end of it. And for me, the minute
fair to say they can't be in the women's champion because Nikki can.
But hold on. You just proved Whitney's point. Here's why. If they are the end of the divas, where the divas division was, and then it transitioned to the women's division, they were in the divas division and they transitioned right over and they fit right in, meaning that they are the evolution.
Not necessarily, because you have Alicia Fox that's there too. She's hot as hell, and she's been in the company just as long as them.
But she's not.
She's not good. Hold on. Let me finish.
But you got
There is a difference between a diva and a women's wrestler. You have well, and that's the difference, because like I said,
we're all divas and we evolved into women.
Yeah, but you can't say that you evolved.
She was a diva and evolved into a women's wrestler. That's why it's right.
You can't
evolved.
You can't say she evolved when she is doing the exact same thing she did before. Now, what I'll say is, I'm saying she's part of the evolution. I'm saying she's way better than what she was. But what I'll say is, she was part of the women's evolution. But I will not say she is the reason why it happened. AJ Lee, Beth Phoenix, Natty Neidhart, when she didn't suck, those women were like, hey, we are not your cookie cutter, blonde hair, blue-eyed, big-boobed women. That's just based
off of their looks, though. That's just based off of their looks.
Beth Phoenix could wrestle circles around Nikki Bella. Natty Neidhart could wrestle circles around her. I don't think so. AJ Lee could do it. Paige could wrestle circles around.
But AJ was very irrelevant.
I mean, she's more relevant now that she's not there than what she was when she was there.
She's more relevant now because she's married to CM Punk. She's married to CM Punk. That's why she's more.
When she got with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, but everyone wants to jump Nikki Bella for boning John Cena. You do you, girl.
I'm with you on that. Because I don't think it's fair that all these guys are, this guy's with this girl, and then next week he's with this girl, and da-da-da-da-da, and then they want to talk about Nikki and her looks. They're not gonna push an ugly girl. They're not gonna do it. And have
you seen our Raw champion?
That's a different story. That has to do with making money. That doesn't have anything to do with, like, Ronda Rousey's not going to have a show called Total Rouseys. You know what I mean? Like, she's not going to have her own show.
The main event evolution. She had nothing to do with any of it. There should not have been. If she was going to be champion, there should not have been a Raw championship match.
But you do realize we're going to eventually have Ronda. Ronda's going to main event WrestleMania. You know that, right?
Yes.
It'll eventually happen. It's going to happen in April.
It's going to happen. She's going to main event WrestleMania.
I think Nikki should have beat her. We should have nipped that whole I'm undefeated thing in the bud right now because, she's not that good right now. It makes more sense for her to lose now than later.
I would have been fine with Nikki beating her, winning the title. Ronda can't get it back. They keep attacking her as a twins, whatever. She has to win the Royal Rumble and then go back and chase it all the way to WrestleMania and take on Nikki Bella.
Yep.
And I actually, to be honest, I expected Natty, because you know how Natty was coming out with Ronda and she was all like rubbing her shoulders and her best friend. I actually thought that they were going to turn Natty against Ronda and then put Natty back with the Bella, like put Natty with the Bella twins kind of, because they're like the OGs and, Ronda's come in and she's trying to take our spot and da-da-da-da-da. Because I don't like Natty as a face. I don't think they do much with her creatively anyway, but I would have really liked to have seen her turn on Ronda because she's the baddest woman on the planet. She doesn't need any support. She doesn't need, Natty out there with her every week. I would have liked to have seen Natty turn on Ronda, kind of lean more towards the Bella Twins side, and then Ronda could, lose the belt. And then the three of them, or even just the Bella Twins or whatever, like you said, attack her for from week to week to week. But then that totally turns her into Asuka. because you have somebody who's undefeated and who legitimately, kicks everybody's ass because she breaks everybody's arm and da-da-da-da-da. And then you have her losing. Like, I don't know, but I would like to see that. I would have liked to see Nikki win the belt back, especially since she came back from a broken freaking neck and she trained and she did what she needed to do. I'll never bash her. I look at wrestling in a different perspective than the sports entertainment side. For me, I want to see a Toni Storm. I want to see a Shayna Baszler. I want to see an Io Shirai. I want to see that. That's totally different.
Right. But gotta remember, this is still sports entertainment. And even
it's
though
not different anymore, that's why we're evolving into one thing.
Right, but you got to go back to even WrestleMania 3. The greatest match of that show was Steamboat and Savage. But what was the main event everyone wanted to see? The Flash, the Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. Even though the match wasn't nothing compared to the other match. It's just that's the sports entertainment side of it. That's what brings in the money, unfortunately. But because of that, you still get what you want. You still get the good wrestling in the middle of that. So Vince is always going to be that way. It's always done the money, and that's why this is the main event. That's why I back up that, because I'm a Vince. I love Vince. Like I'm 100%
I support the business aspect. It's your business.
And I get it. I get why you do it.
Pay-per-view about women who evolved to make this what it was.
To have Ronda in the main event, I agree.
Yeah,
right. That's just my.
From a fan's perspective, I don't want that to be the event, but from a company's, I totally get it. Totally understand.
She did not deserve it. She did not deserve that.
No, I agree with that. Well, all right, guys. So I guess we'll end it right there on that portion of this show. Yeah, we got little bit of a fire and ice moment there, but that's all right, guys. You can see you can see more of fire and ice options on the show, fire and ice topics and stuff coming up in the next few weeks, or you can always listen on the ringsidepodcast.com, or just follow us all on the podcast avenues and all the social media outlets, the Twitter, the Instagram, and the Facebook at Ringside Podcast, as you see right there. All right. So, ladies, do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Nope.
Proud of where WWE is going. Very proud.
Agreed. Yes.
All right. So stay tuned, guys, for more Fire and Ice segments with these lovely ladies and on our YouTube channel right here.